The boxes stacked throughout our modest Pasadena ranch house created an obstacle course of social ambition, each one labeled in Mom's precise handwriting: Master Bedroom Wilshire Estate, Formal Dining Wilshire Estate, Guest Wing Wilshire Estate. Patricia Chin had spent 3 weeks orchestrating what she called our family's most important transition, moving from our comfortable but unremarkable neighborhood into the kind of Beverly Hills mansion that would finally establish our place among Los Angeles's social elite. I sat at the kitchen island, now bare except for my laptop and a stack of legal documents I'd been reviewing while Mom supervised the packing with military precision. At 28, I'd grown accustomed to her elaborate schemes for elevating our family's status, but this latest project seemed particularly ambitious even by her standards. "Emma, darling, make sure your computer equipment is properly protected," Mom instructed, her voice carrying the excited energy of someone who'd spent months planning a social coup. "The Wilshire Mansion has a beautiful home office overlooking the garden, perfect for your little graphic design projects." My brother Ryan emerged from his bedroom carrying a box labeled Future CO Suite, his expression radiating the confidence of someone who'd finally received validation for years of mediocre achievement. At 26, he'd inherited Mom's taste for grandeur and Dad's talent for avoiding the practical details that made grand plans possible. "This is going to change everything," Ryan declared, setting his box beside the growing collection near the front door. "Beverly Hills address, gated community, neighbors who own studios and tech companies. Perfect networking opportunities for my entertainment industry consulting business." Dad nodded approvingly from his position near the living room windows, where he'd been watching the moving truck arrive with obvious satisfaction. "Your mother's connections finally paid off. 20 years of building relationships in the real estate community, and now we get to benefit from Patricia's professional expertise." Mom beamed with pride at the recognition of her strategic relationship building. As a high-end real estate agent specializing in luxury properties, she'd cultivated friendships with Beverly Hills' most exclusive clientele for 2 decades, always positioning herself as someone who understood their world and aspirations. "The Weinstein family has been so generous," Mom explained for the 3rd time that morning. "When their European relocation came up suddenly, they specifically thought of us for the house. No realtor fees, no lengthy negotiations, just a private family-to-family transfer of their beautiful Wilshire estate." The doorbell rang, interrupting her explanation of their good fortune. Through the front window, I could see a courier truck with legal document delivery service prominently displayed on its side. "I'll get it," I said, rising from my stool while Mom continued directing Ryan toward the boxes that needed immediate loading. The courier handed me a thick manila envelope marked "Urgent, Signature Required," and addressed to Patricia Chin. I signed for delivery and carried the envelope back into the house, noting Mom's distracted expression as she coordinated between the moving crew and her family's packing responsibilities. "Legal documents?" I asked, offering her the envelope. "Probably just the final paperwork from the Weinsteins," Mom replied dismissively, too focused on logistics to examine the official seals and law firm letterhead. "Set it aside. We'll handle administrative details after we're settled in the new house." The afternoon progressed with increasing efficiency as the moving crew worked through our modest collection of furniture and belongings. Mom had already arranged for new furnishings to better suit the mansion's scale: custom sofas, dining sets, and artwork that would create the sophisticated atmosphere she'd always envisioned for our family. "Mrs. Chin," the moving foreman approached with his clipboard, "we're about ready to head to the destination. Do you have the keys for 847 Wilshire Boulevard?" Mom's triumphant smile faltered slightly. "The keys? Oh, the Weinsteins said they'd leave them with their property manager. I'm sure everything will be arranged properly." The foreman looked skeptical but nodded professionally. Years of handling complicated residential moves had taught him to recognize when families were operating on assumptions rather than confirmed arrangements. Ryan appeared with another box, his excitement barely contained. "I already updated my LinkedIn profile with the Beverly Hills address. My business associates are going to be so impressed. Entertainment consulting from a Wilshire mansion carries serious credibility." "Don't count chickens before they hatch," I suggested mildly, still holding the unopened legal envelope. "Emma's being negative again," Mom replied with practiced patience. "Some people have trouble accepting positive change in their circumstances." Dad emerged from the garage carrying golf clubs and tennis rackets he'd optimistically purchased for their new lifestyle. The country club memberships alone are worth a fortune. The Weinstein's social connections will open doors we never imagined. I watched the moving truck being loaded while processing the elaborate fantasy my family had constructed around this mysterious property transfer. The Weinsteins, a wealthy couple I'd never met, had supposedly offered our family their Beverly Hills mansion in a private arrangement that bypassed all normal real estate protocols. My phone buzzed with a text from my property attorney. Legal documentation delivered as requested. Please review immediately and contact office with questions. Situation requires urgent attention. Mom, I said, holding up the envelope again, maybe we should review these documents before the movers finish loading. Emma, timing is everything in real estate, Mom replied with professional authority. The truck is here, the schedule is set, and the Weinsteins are expecting us to take possession today. Administrative paperwork can be handled after we're moved in. The moving foreman approached again, his expression increasingly concerned. Ma'am, I've contacted the property management company for 847 Wilshire Boulevard. They have no record of any family named Chin being authorized for access. Mom's confident expression flickered momentarily. That's probably just a communication delay. Property management companies are notoriously slow with paperwork updates. They also mentioned that the current residents, the Weinstein family, are not planning to vacate the property. In fact, they're currently at home. The kitchen fell silent except for the sound of boxes being loaded outside. I opened the legal envelope and spread its contents across the kitchen island. Mom, I think we need to discuss these documents right now. The legal papers covered the kitchen island like evidence in a fraud investigation. The first document was a restraining order issued against Patricia Chin, prohibiting her from approaching, contacting, or making any claims regarding the property located at 847 Wilshire Boulevard, Beverly Hills, California. Mom's confident expression cracked completely as she read the official court seal. This can't be right, she whispered, reaching for the second document, a cease and desist order from the Weinstein family's attorneys, detailing Mom's months-long campaign of harassment, false claims, and attempted property fraud. According to this, I read aloud, you've been telling people that the Weinsteins offered you their house despite having no relationship with them whatsoever. You've also been showing their property to friends and family while claiming to have purchase rights you don't possess. Dad's golf clubs clattered to the floor. Patricia, what is this about? You said the Weinsteins were friends from your real estate network. They are. Mom protested desperately. I've been working with high-end properties for 20 years. I understand how these private arrangements work. Mom. I held up the third document, a formal complaint filed with the California Department of Real Estate documenting her unlawful misrepresentation of property ownership and unauthorized property access. You've been trespassing on their estate and lying about having permission to move in. Ryan stared at the papers in growing horror. You mean we don't actually have a mansion? I already told my business contacts. You told them you were moving into a house we were never offered, never purchased, and have no legal right to access, I replied. The moving foreman appeared in the kitchen doorway. Mrs. Chin, Beverly Hills Police just called. They're waiting at 847 Wilshire Boulevard to arrest anyone who attempts to move belongings onto the property without authorization. Mom sank into a kitchen chair as the reality crashed over her. Her elaborate scheme to fake her way into Beverly Hills society had produced criminal charges instead of social advancement. There's one more document, I said, pulling out the final paper. A lawsuit filed by the Weinstein family for harassment, trespassing, and attempted fraud. They're seeking damages and attorney fees. Dad's face went completely white. How much in damages? I scanned the legal filing. $250,000. Outside, the moving truck sat loaded with our belongings, headed nowhere. Mom's social climbing had become social falling in one devastating afternoon. The moving truck unloaded everything back into our Pasadena ranch house that same evening. Mom's Beverly Hills dreams dissolved into legal fees and professional humiliation when the Real Estate Licensing Board suspended her for fraudulent property representation. Ryan's entertainment consulting business collapsed before it started. His LinkedIn update about the Beverly Hills address became evidence in the harassment case, and his professional contacts quietly distanced themselves from the family scandal. Dad's golf clubs and tennis rackets were returned to storage. The country club memberships they'd never actually obtained became a family joke that wasn't funny. The Weinstein family's lawsuit proceeded through civil court. Mom's legal fees exceeded $30,000 before reaching a settlement that included permanent restraining orders and public apology letters. I kept our modest ranch house exactly as it was. The property values in our neighborhood increased steadily over the following years, making our unpretentious family home a solid investment that required no fraudulent schemes or celebrity connections. Mom eventually found work as a part-time administrative assistant for a small property management company, though her previous real estate career never recovered from the Beverly Hills incident. Social climbing works better when you actually climb instead of just lying about reaching the top. Moving trucks can't deliver dreams, only belongings. Reality always arrives eventually, usually with legal documentation.